what at this point, if you're the GM, if you're Brian Cashman, the outfield is going to be a question. Someone's probably got to go.
The outfield should and will continue to be Soto in left, Judge in right, and Dominguez in center. Welcome back to the rotation with Mike and Jon. I'm Jonathan Sawyer, with me and my brother Mike DeSanto. We have not been around. We apologize. Mike, it's been baseball season. Our Yankees have been on a tear. And again, we're apologize. We're back here. We're going to finish out the year strong, just like we did last year. Coming to you every single week with baseball content on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube. Wherever you get your stuff, we're going to be there. The rotation at Cinco Squad Pod 05. Make sure you guys tune in. The MLB season first half is coming to a close here in a couple weeks. What is your thoughts on the first half of the season?
Well, of course, I mean, it's baseball season, so, you know, I'm always down for baseball season, as we always say. It's been fun. It's been fun to see some of the teams that have
fun. We're having fun.
We're having fun.
It's fun.
No, it's been cool to see a lot of the teams that, you know, or at least some of the teams that have made huge jumps this year. Some good division races thus far, and just teams kind of putting together some good teams. I've been a little put off by the injuries, particularly the shoulder and elbow injuries. We previously talked about that, I believe, the last time we were here, and it's just continued, which has been kind of disheartening to as an overall baseball fan. I mean, obviously, you know, we talk about being Yankee fans, but as an overall baseball fan that wants to see the product be good and every team, you know, put good players on the field, to see what feels like half of them be out for the season or for a majority of the season is kind of been a little shitty. What about yourself? Yeah,
it's been a great first half of the year. We have a lot of teams that should be at the top. The Yankees, the Dodgers are dominating. Brewers, as we thought in the beginning of the year. Some surprising teams. I mean, we got, you know, the Cardinals making a surge. On our last show, they were at the bottom of the Central, now making a surge to the top, 5 games out of first place behind the Brewers. Biggest surprise for me has been the Braves. The Braves falling off as much as they did last year. I mean, they lost a lot of key. They lost, I think, Spencer Strider, got Tommy John surgery. They lost Ronald Acuna Jr., who is their heart and soul and pretty much their ignition, honestly. If he's there, he's basically, you know, able to go. But then you look at divisions like the West, and I think the Mariners are finally taking it to the Astros and the Rangers. I'm very shocked by the Rangers because all they did was bring back guys. They lost Jordan Montgomery, which was a surprise. And I didn't really understand why they didn't bring him back. But, yeah, I'm very interested to see how the second half. I think a lot of teams are begging for the All-Star break to come up because injuries are happening, and this is where this is the time of the year. The Yankees are getting hurt. You know, you're seeing left and right with guys going down, but I think it's just that time of the year. People gotta relax. But let's get into our Yankees talk. We are the Yankee boys, Yankee guys, Yankee kids, whatever it calls, the kids from the block. How do you feel about our Yankees so far this season? Everyone's freaking out on the slump they're having right now.
Yeah, so other than the last couple weeks or so, I feel great. I mean, please, for the love of God, lock Juan Soto up as soon as you possibly can. If you can manage to do it during the season, do it. This dude is an absolute stud. He's a superstar. They were saying the other night, he is, to judge, what they were hoping when they first traded for him, and I will emphasize because of that clip you put out, traded for him, Giancarlo Stanton was going to be. The pitching has been...
He's amazing.
He's amazing. No, he's a great guy to have on the team, both dude. On and off the field. He's so great.
It's so good. It's so nice, and it's better than I thought it would be. And I was trying to.
I know.
I was lowering my expectations, so I was like, he's probably gonna have a bad year, and he's just crushing it. Yeah. And he's just crushing it, dude. It's just and it's great to see. He had a little minor hiccup with an injury that was just a forearm tightness. I'm not worried about that. I think that was basically give him a break against the Dodgers. I don't think they wanted to give him a break against the Dodgers, but, you know, he plays the intimidation factor. He sat at the top of the dugout knowing that he's never going into the game against the Dodgers and basically intimidate him. Forced Roberts to make moves that he probably wasn't going to make unless Grisham was going to hit, and Grisham did hit. But I think the team's doing well. I agree with you. I think they're all playing very good baseball. The starting rotation is kind of getting me a little nervous. Nestor is a shell of himself this year. I hope he gets it together here soon. Rodon finally 9-3 or 9-4 now. Is doing great. Stroman's everything I hoped for and dreamed of. Heel is a breath of fresh air from the minors, and then we have our ace back on the mound. Unfortunately, the supporting cast and the bullpen didn't help him in his game. He didn't help himself, but I expected that against a tough division rival in the Baltimore Orioles. But our captain, Mr. Senor Judge, is on a pace for 60 home runs once again. Could you imagine if he breaks it? If he breaks 62 and he gets this?
I will lose my mind. And not only that, it's the fact that he flipped a switch in like late April because he did not start off the year great.
He started bad.
And then all of a sudden, it's just like, oh, right, that's how you hit. Home run, home run, home run, home run.
Oh, I'm supposed to do that. Okay. And then he's just on a tear. And it's funny because he got his first ever career ejection, and it was like from that point on, it just flipped the switch. I mean, it was good beforehand, but it's nice to see him getting going. But when he goes, but I think the biggest thing was the team was winning and playing good baseball. And I said this to you before, said this to you last year, is that when you're playing good and you're the star and you're having a slump and the rest of the supporting cast is supporting you, you can benefit huge off them. You're not going to sit here and you're not going to have the pressure as you would, like, oh, Judge is going to save us. It's like Laboratories was helping. Volpe was on a fucking tear, which I was happy to see. He's still doing well. You got Stanton hitting the ball. You got all these other guys contributing, and he's just like, all right, I'll swing my way back into the lineup. I'll swing my way back into a good season. And that's what he did. And now we're relying on him way too much, where I think it's just, Soto's up, he's going to hit a home run. And it's like, yeah, there's a good percentage of that, but I think the team is just suffering some midseason woes, some bumps and bruises. But I don't mind the 4-week delay. I guess I could solve it from Stan. I'm a little nervous because he came up running on around third, and he wasn't sprinting. He was just jogging, and I was like, what's that? So
right.
I don't know. I'm interested to see how the second half, but he's not like, it's not a huge loss. It was terrible because, I mean, normally when he goes out with an injury, it takes him a while to get back up and going. So hopefully he can get back up and going after All-Star break and get himself back to what the Yankees need him for, and that's power in the 4-hole. Like, that's just it.
Yeah, and I think talk about with guys having less pressure, I think the way they've been playing, if they can continue to, obviously they're going to go through slumps like this and stuff like that. And I'm not as worried as, some other fans are, but if they can continue to play well throughout the year, that also gives him less pressure to come back and immediately be, big pop Stanton that everybody's expecting him to be. Yes, he has fallen short most of the time of expectations when they first got him, and the injuries have been an issue. But I think this is a team that plays with less pressure on each individual, which in turn makes them a good team. There's one question I did want to ask you, given where we are in the season, kind of at this midway point. Not looking too far down the road, but I was discussing this when I was visiting my dad a couple weeks ago. What, at this point, right? Let's put your GM cap on, put yourself in your Brian Cashman shoes. At this point in the no, because Brian Cashman, I think, has small feet. But, don't know that for a fact, but I feel like he does. What, at this point, if you're the GM, if you're Brian Cashman, right, you're looking kind of, because it's your job to look down the road a little bit. At not only the second half of the year, but also after this season. The outfield is going to be a question. Because you've got, obviously, Judge, who they're talking about moving to first, but who knows when and if that's ever going to happen. You got Soto,
Mhm.
you've got Grisham, you've got Verdugo, you've got Spencer Jones, and Jason Dominguez.
What do you do with what?
Someone's probably got to go. So at this point,
I'm most likely it's going to be Grisham, and that entire lineup. And you got Dominguez. I don't think you mentioned him. Did you?
no, I did. Yeah, I said Dominguez.
So Spencer Jones is the future. He's still probably 2 or 3 years away. He's still in Double A ball. He's having an okay year. Dominguez now back down with another injury for 4 to 6 weeks. Doesn't help his case right now. For a right now purpose, like Grisham plays a great role for Verdugo to kind of have the split time. I think Verdugo is not on a big contract right now, is he?
He's a free agent after this year. So that's the big question: is it's him and Soto.
I think Verdugo wants to be in New York. I think Soto wants to be in New York. It's just, what does Verdugo having the season that he wants is going to entail they're going to have to buck up for some money. So are you paying Soto or are you paying Verdugo? Obviously, that's an obvious answer. You're going to pay Soto. All signs point that Soto will be back in a Yankees uniform next year, but his agent Scott Boras is going to be a shark that he is. I mean, that's just who Scott is. That's what his job is, to be an agent. A lot of people hate him, but I don't mind it because that's what you're supposed to do. That's why he's got the reputation that he's gotten of being a shark, because yeah, the team might not be good as clients go to, but he's getting the contracts. The money's all you care about. Winning, yeah, it's great and all, but it's all about the money. So when you're looking at Soto, I think he'll be back in the Yankees uniform. He loves being in New York, but the Steinbrenners and Cashman need to buck up. He's a $500 to $600 million player right now. And if he finishes the way he started, he's going to get $600 million. Because if you're going to say Ohtani is that effective, Ohtani not pitching. And who knows how he's going to be when he is. And Ohtani's not having a good year at all. So I would say the outfield should and will continue to be Soto and Soto and left, Judge and right, and Dominguez in center. That's going to be the 2025 starting outfield. That is my prediction. With if Verdugo loves to be in New York, will he take the pay cut? Potentially. He's young enough. I think he's only 28 years old or something around there. He's a very young player. I would say that. And Spencer Jones really isn't a talk. I mean, all I've heard about is he's stuck in Double A right now. And if he can't get out of Double A right now, there's not really a chance for him to get into anywhere, really. So I'm saying that. That's the starting right outfield next year. Barring all people are healthy, will be Soto in left, Dominguez in center, and Judge in right.
Okay. I mean, that makes sense to me. I think I would agree. I think that's probably the long-term play. My suspicion is, and the reason kind of that question came up with me and my dad was, my suspicion is it's either Soto or Verdugo. So because of, at this point, what it looks like the projected money is probably going to end up being, that Verdugo is going to command, if he continues, like you said, having the season he wants, command starting outfielder money. And you're going to take Grisham as your fourth outfielder over a Verdugo, overpaying Verdugo to be a fourth outfielder. But I was just curious as to kind of where your head would be at.
That's where my head would be at if Brian Cashman. Soto's great for New York. He's great for the ball club, and I think it's a no-brainer. You put Soto and you sign him, get it over and done with, and then you figure it out. Scott Boras already said they're not willing to negotiate during the season, and that's what Soto's always been about. So I don't see it happening. So we'll see here come on next year, but I think it's going to be Soto, Dominguez, and Judge. That's going to be the starting outfield. But let's get it moving on to our topics of the week. We got into our Yankee talk a little bit longer than normal, but we haven't been here in a while. So we already did the most surprising team, so we ain't got to talk about that. Or did you want to jump into yours?
I can just briefly say one that kind of stood out to me. I agreed with you, like all the ones that like some of the ones that you mentioned were surprising to me. The other one that's kind of surprised me a little bit has been Arizona, only because I thought they'd be a little better than they have been. They're as at this point 38-40. I thought they might be able to ride the momentum and kind of the, you know, happy feeling of making the World Series as a surprise team and the guys that all seem to click together into more of a winning record. Obviously, the Dodgers loaded up, so I didn't expect the Diamondbacks to necessarily win the division or be at the Dodgers level, but I expected a little more than they have shown so far.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest surprise team is Padres. I mean, they're a game out of the they're about a game out of the wild card. I think 3 teams get in for the wild card nowadays, so they're in the wild card right now. And the Nationals are half a game out of the wild card right now. So is the NL that bad now that we're having the Nationals still has a chance to make the playoffs this year?
Well, that's
and
kind
the
of what
Royals.
Yeah, I mean, and so the Royals made sneaky good moves. We talked about this in the offseason.
Yeah,
the Royals
they
made sneaky good moves. Seth Lugo's been huge for them.
Got Patrick, Michael Jordan, Mahomes on that ownership group. Of course, they're going to make some moves.
Of course. Yeah, smart man. Wins champion. Like, I mean, can't say he doesn't know how to win championships. The NL, yeah, I mean, that's I think been the big talk is like, hey, let's look at the fact that 2 of the 3 wildcard teams and everyone below them have losing records.
Yeah,
the only wild card team that has a winning record is the top one. So yeah, no, the NL is just. It seems like they're just beating each other up this year, and nobody's actually that other than like the division leaders. Nobody's actually that good. No. Meanwhile, the AL is like, 75% of us are good.
Yeah, right now three AL East teams would get in: the Red Sox, Orioles, and Yankees, and the Twins get in on the wild card play. Yankees would get the 1 seed, obviously, right now in the AL. I mean, they're the best team in baseball.
I'm glad you said it so that I didn't have to.
You know, they do have 52 wins. They are legit. So if all Yankee fans out there, look at the Yankees right now in the standings. So if you really want to go all technical, the Yankees are the second best team behind Philadelphia in baseball at 52-28. Let me repeat that: 52-28. You want to know where they were this time last year? All the way down here at 82-80 when they finished the season. But when they finished, let's see if I can get the first half. It's not letting me. It's not letting me see the first half. But anyways, the Yankees weren't even close at this point last year. So calm down. I know you're nervous because we've seen this before, but calm the fuck down. Okay? Calm down. It's going to be okay. It's a long season. Injuries happen. These are athletes. At the end of the day, they're going to be okay. We're going to be fine. We finally got a rotation of 5 guys to throw out there with Schmidt coming back potentially here after the All-Star break. So just calm down a little bit. Well, I can tell you, we've been talking about our aces, but there has been an ace in MLB that has really been a stud of a draft pick for the Pittsburgh Pirates, and that's Paul Skenes. Do you feel like he's an ace right now? Being so young and up and coming, usually it's like, okay, we got to give these guys a few years. But, I mean, let me give you the stats. He's 4-0, 2.14 ERA, 61 strikeouts in 4 games that he's pitched, or 8 games pitched. So, I mean, he's got a whip of 99.99. So, what do you think? Is he an ace?
Yes. No, he is 100% Pittsburgh's ace. I know it's early in his career, and we've seen guys be flash in the pans before, but it's baseball. The rosters turn over so much. You can get so much like change in your career that you gotta call a spade a spade. Like, this dude has ace stuff. He is a dominant pitcher for this Pittsburgh Pirates team. He is, and I think will continue to be, the ace of this staff. And what impresses me the most outside of those stats and the fact that he can strike out anybody seemingly at will is we talk about all the time that guys throw hard, right? Everybody throws hard now outside of like a handful of pitchers. It's not as much of a novelty anymore that you get the Aroldis Chapman that can throw hard. It's now throwing hard with consistency, and that's what Paul Skenes impresses me with, because the dude's first major league pitch was 102.
Yeah.
His next 70 were fastballs, were 102 or 101.
Mm-hmm.
Not only does he throw over 100, he consistently throws over 100. I have not seen the guy's velocity dip one time in all the innings he's pitched. Yeah, he's got a young live arm. He didn't pitch a lot in the minors this year, so people are going to say he's not as worn out, and that's all well and good. But give credit where credit is due. Recognize a star when you have one.
They're already talking about trade locations for him, where he can go.
Yeah,
where the Pirates
trade in 2 years.
Well, not even 2 years. They're thinking this year. They think someone's going to put out a playoff team's going to put out a opportunity. Not saying it's going to happen, but I'm saying a lot of teams have been inquiring. He's been on the talks of where he's going to go, trading wise. Will he get traded? Those type of things. But he's dedicated to Pittsburgh. He wants to build that organization up to a winning way. And I don't know. I mean, he can't control a trade at this point in his career, so the cards don't really lie with him. But if I'm Pittsburgh, I'm holding on to him. You give away so many pitchers in your career, and in my lifetime, you've given away so. The pitcher on the Yankees, our ace, is on our team. You've given him away. Like, you've given away a lot of people. Tyler Glasnow, I think, is another one.
Yes.
And
Jameson Taillon, the Yankees had 2 last year.
Yeah, so the Pirates are notoriously known for it, but if they continue to win and be in a playoff picture, they can't give him away. I think Skenes is a phenomenal pitcher. He's 6'6". He throws hard. He can command the zone real well. He moves his slider well, moves his fastball well. The thing is, he moves a slider, I think, at 100 miles an hour, which is incredible. It's like we're all this chat type of firing location. But my biggest fear with that is eventually down the road, you never know what happens with injuries. So, get him. I think he's definitely, a key point to that team and that organization. The organization surrounds themselves. 8 starts, 41 Ks. That's pretty impressive. And let me read you here his minor stats. His minor league stats here. Let me pull it back up. He pitched in 12 games. He had 34 innings pitched. He had 22 hits, not in a career, minor league career. 7 earned and 1 home run. So, and in that total of 2 years, 55 Ks and 34 innings pitched. So he was dominating in AAA, and it was only a matter of time before he was up in the big leagues. At the end of the day, I think this kid's going to be a stud, and he's going to be a stud for a very, very long time. But speaking about pitchers, stolen bases has been a key thing of, it seems like it's been not the norm lately. It seems like stolen bases is like, we saw it from Ronald Acuna, we saw it from Anthony Volpe last year, and it's like a thing of the past, it seems like. But how much do you value stolen bases in today's game? If you don't mind, I would love to kind of go first on this.
Go ahead.
I think it's a key part that guys aren't using. I think it's a key part that, is still critical to today's game. It's a strategy. I look over and see Volpe bouncing around like a jackrabbit, ready to go. It throws the pitcher off. It is a very valuable tool that a lot of teams, I think, are misusing or not using enough. I think stolen bases are, if not, what can put you in the Hall of Fame too. It can definitely get you to that type of status. I mean, look at Ricky Henderson. Fucking speedster. You never could catch him. So you look at guys like that. You look at Barry Bonds early in his career was a dominant runner on the base path. You wouldn't look at it after steroids, but he was a dominant runner. He would hit home runs. He would run. He would steal bases. He would hit for average. He was just a dominant runner. So I think it's very valuable for teams to have a person that can really get on base, and especially and not to the stolen base part, because in the regular season that they do this stupid rule where in the 10th inning they put someone on second. Having someone that's fast like that can move around on an easy single or something like that is very critical for your team. So I think they're very valuable. I think the biggest question here is, why aren't catchers' arms as good as they used to be? Like, what happened to being thrown out? Are the guys faster than they used to be, or are catchers getting worse with timing and throwing throwing guys out.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think the stolen base can still be a very important and useful part that some teams just don't utilize enough. I mean, you think about it. Think about it this way, in the most simplest of terms, right? You got a runner on first, runner on first, and a single without a stolen base, right? 2 runners on. That's great. At least one of them's in scoring position usually. Runner on first that steals second, and then a single. That's probably a run. And I don't know about you, I'd take a run over 2 guys on.
Yeah.
Because you win by scoring. So, yeah, to have a guy on base that can move through the base paths, get themselves into scoring position without anybody having to do anything is an extremely an underrated part of the game of baseball. Not to mention, I know batting average as a whole around the league is down. So that means there's less guys getting hits to move those runners along. So if I can have a guy like Volpe, like Andres Jimenez, like Ronald Acuna, like back to Ricky Henderson, Lou Brock, Ichiro, like guys like that can move themselves, and I don't have to worry about the fact that the next guy is only hitting 240 because, okay, they're already in a position to score. Great. I think it's a combination of, to answer your question, it's a combination of, I think there are guys that are faster. I think we're seeing more athletes playing baseball.
Yeah.
As far as overall speed goes. Not everybody used to be it's a weird kind of balance thing where it's like we have faster athletes, right, in the game, but we value power more. So we're not using the stolen base as much as we can because they're athletic and they're fast.
Yeah.
Catchers wise, I'm not sure what's happening other than the only thing I can suspect based on how I've seen the catching position change from my perspective is, are these guys more focused when working, especially in the offseason, on their offense? It used to be catchers, you had good offensive catchers, obviously, right?
Mm-hmm.
But 9 times out of 10, your best offensive catchers were or the offensively productive catchers was rare, and it was the best catchers in the league. But most of your catchers were quality defensive catchers.
Yeah.
You had a ton of guys that, could barely hit the Mendoza line, which Jamie will love because he likes the term Mendoza line now. But they'd win Gold Gloves because they were just so good defensively. So that's just my suspicion on the situation is that these guys they're not made to focus enough on throwing runners out because it's go hit a home run.
Which is weird, right? Because
yeah.
The pitch clock I thought would help catchers because pitchers can't do the big long wind up and everything like that where they're doing the Andy Pettit where they're doing the Roger Clemens, the double tap and go. They're not doing those type of pitches anymore. So a lot of times I thought, okay, the pitchers are going quicker to the plate, but I mean realistically, I think the catchers are just not focused on the runner. I mean, I'm seeing more guys get thrown out too, which is that balance. So, I mean, you got a guy like JT Realmuto, who's a pretty solid catcher and a very, good athlete on the base path that he can move. You don't see that from a catcher usually. So, I don't know. I mean, I think it's a very valuable key art tool in your belt, pretty much, that you can really pull out. And if you got the guy on base, it can really mess with these pitchers up, especially with the pitch clock, with them, being forced to go quicker, and then now pretty much having to worry about Speedy Jones on the base path. You got to go a little quicker to kind of help your catcher out. So I think it's a very valuable piece. So we'll see what happens in the regular season to see where it compares to other numbers. I'd really like to see those for the next show to see if you can pull those up and where the comparables are from year to year and see how it's either gotten better or faster. Which is to one point on what you said is that the league average is low, but what I'm seeing in all the box scores is there's so much action every night. Like I haven't seen so many runs where it's like 8, 9, 10 run games, and there's multiple ones per night. I mean, it's incredible. I saw one night it was like 3 games, 12 plus runs. And there was like 4 games that were 8 plus runs, like 8 to 10 runs per game. And it's like, holy shit, that's impressive to me. I'm like, damn. So is the averages really going down? it feels like the averages should be going up if anything. So we'll see. We'll see what happens throughout the regular season. But we want to get to our final segment of the show, and we're going to play a little logo guessing game. Now, some of them will be easy, I'll be honest with you. But if they're easy, that means we just know a lot about baseball, and you should listen to us more. So it's from Sporkle. Sporkle, our friends there.
I can.
Cool. So we're going to play. It takes 5 minutes on the timer. We got to get all 30 right. Mike, which one's this?
White Sox.
Boom. Next. Which one's this?
Red Sox.
Oh, man.
Difficult.
Oh. Mike, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
So maybe they're not as hard as we thought they were.
No. Blue Jays. Cubs. Mets. This was supposed to be progressively harder. Angels.
It might. I mean, maybe it's just giving us cake ones. So Angels, Astros. Fuck, this is easy.
Diamondbacks. You may notice that there's the percentage of people getting it right. Cardinals. Athletics. Pirates.
Speaking of the Pirates.
Paul Skenes. Braves. Marlins. Old Marlins.
Old Marlins logo. Rockies. Padres. Oh, really?
Padres.
You could have taken the S. Really?
Right.
You could have taken the letters out of the name. Oh my God! Really? There's another logo. You could use the Orioles.
Yeah, no, like you could. I was expecting some older logos, Reds.
That is an older logo, Reds.
Phillies.
Nationals. You could have taken the W out. So now we're just gonna rag on the Sporkle. Oh, I wonder what that is. That actually I've seen that before. Get people. Before.
Oh, do they want the old? Do they want the old name?
Wow.
Yeah, they do. Okay, this is an older one. Here it is. That one could get people that aren't super familiar.
This one got me earlier when I did something like similar to this.
Yeah, because those two, the Twins and Brewers. Yes. Okay, I see how they're getting progressively harder because they just start showing the ones with baseballs.
So we got 100 out of this, Mike.
Woo! And with little less than 3 minutes to spare because we're just that damn smart.
So we got it under. It's on Sporkle. Sporkle has a lot of great quizzes. So if you have a chance, go check out their quizzes. Mike, we got about 2 weeks till 3 weeks till All-Star break. We're going to be back here next week. Make sure you guys tune in. Again, sorry for the hiatus. Had a few weeks off. We also want to put out more content about our spring training trip. I think that you guys are owed that as much, and I think it's going to be really interesting. All the pictures, everything we kind of endured, all the fans we gave out. We gave out these cool little. Oh, let me get it.
Get the koozie.
We gave out these cool little koozies. If you want one, let us know. We will.
Yes.
You can purchase these. I think they're around $2 or $3. We can sell them for. So make sure you guys just Cinco Squad easy koozie. You can have it at a tailgate. Nice little drink. So make sure you guys tune in. Mike, any final thoughts before we head into the baseball week?
Yeah, so I'm super excited to start voting for the All-Star game. Being we're about 3 weeks away, voting should open soon. Of course, I will be doing 2 rounds, one of entirely Yankees, one of who I actually think should make the team, as I always do every year.
Same.
But yeah, I'm excited to see how this season progresses, what teams really look like going into the All-Star break. And like you had said earlier, I definitely think there are some teams, including probably ours, that are looking forward to having a little bit of time to rest.
Even though most of the guys will be in the All-Star game. So,
Exactly.
Yes, I'm looking forward to it. I will be in New York here next week for July 4th weekend. Yankees, Red Sox. I will be there Friday night, so tune into our socials. I may even go live with my wife. She bought it for my birthday present. So you may see Mrs. Sawyer on there, or she'll be behind the camera, womaning the camera, not manning the camera. So
There you go.
doing right by the men and women.
Doing right by that.
But yes,
Proper
I will
term.
be at Yankee
Proper
Stadium. Make sure you guys are tuning in. And we'll see you guys here next week with the rotation with Mike and Jon. We'll see you guys.